What up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Fish and Grits, the podcast. Today is November 3rd, 2020, and today's sponsor for the episode is the letter V for vote. Today was the last day you could vote in every state. Today was actually election day, the official day, but now with early voting, it seems like it's just the last day to vote, in all honesty. So what's up, guys? Welcome back to another show.
I'm Marco.
I'm Micah.
Oh shit, is that Barry White? Is that skinny Barry White? For those of y'all that don't know, Micah is on keto, which I guess Marco is the only one in here who hasn't done keto, and everyone who is our listeners that has done keto can empathize, but also be a little bit jealous because everyone who's done keto knows how much that weight just flies off.
As me being the only one who's never done that, I've never actually researched into what that means. So what does it mean to be on a keto diet?
Keto means ketosis. It's the process of I'm gonna mess this up because it's been a while since I looked it up. Micah, do you remember what it actually is? It's like I'll explain the diet and maybe that'll trigger it for me. What you're doing is tricking your body into using carbohydrates as a main source of energy because that's just what our diets are made of nowadays. It's just high in carbs and all that type of stuff. So your body is when it needs energy, it looks for carbs because that's just what it's an easy thing to break down. You get quick energy from it, and the body doesn't have to expend a lot of energy breaking down carbs. So that's what it does. It's just trained itself to do that. But what you're doing is saying, "Hey, body, carbs are done. We've run out. We're now out of carbs. This is what we're eating from now on." And it's a high protein, high fat diet. And a very small amount of carbs, depending on how aggressive you want to get with it, you can go down to like 10 carbs a day. I was doing 25 grams of carbs a day, which is like a bagel if you had half of it.
Mm-hmm.
So what you just have
you're tricking your body into using fat for energy.
So in the mind of a keto dieter, what are the type of foods that you must avoid, and what are the foods that you indulge in?
Processed food.
Yeah, well, potatoes,
Yeah.
beans.
You can do beans.
Huh?
You can do beans. You just have to do the right ones.
What depends? Yeah, it depends. Like a lot, but a lot of beans, like black beans and pinto beans for Mexican, are very carby.
Yeah.
So yeah,
starches, sugars.
Yeah.
All that's pretty much done.
So fun.
Yeah, I mean, when you're on it, your energy is a lot more stable because it takes a lot longer to break down fat than it does carbs, where, your energy on carbs goes up, you crash, and you're like, oh, I need to eat again. Then you crash, and you need to eat again, then you crash again. This is a long, slow arc of steady energy because fat digestion takes a lot longer, and you can just burn it. It's like a fat. Think of it as like using fat to burn a lamp, as an oil source or a fire source as a lamp. It burns forever when you use fat, just because it's real dense, it's nutrient rich, and it just burns slow because it's oily. But that's the basis behind it. When I started keto, I was like 256. And I got down to, I think my lowest was like 196 or like 195-ish. And that was about a 5 or 6 month span there. So you burn fat, and then you can actually, if you incorporate working out with it as well, you can go a higher, you can up your carbs a little bit depending on how active you are, because you just don't want to collapse and die, especially early on. But
is that why your kidneys would be compromised if you don't do it correctly?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it does put a strain on it at first, but once your body gets used to it, you process it really quick.
Plus, if you actually find recipes that you like, it becomes so much easier because it's like, oh, man, I can eat some of this stuff and not like I can eat good stuff while still watching what I'm eating.
It forces you to get creative and get outside your comfort zone in the kitchen for sure. Because you're like, I want something. You start to crave certain type of foods because you can only eat like string cheese and bacon strips for so long at the beginning because that's usually what people do. You know, they don't, they're like, oh, I'll go into it and I'll eat hamburger, or I'll eat cheeseburgers without the buns. I'll eat bacon. I'll eat string cheese and eggs. And people do that for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and they're like, "Oh my God, I will not eat another egg a day in my life." And then you have to start going outside and looking for things. Like Pinterest is a perfect place to find a lot of these things, a lot of the recipes, and that's where Nicole and I lived for about the year that we were doing keto. Just all over Pinterest, and you can find some cool things, for sure. Like Micah, you've sent me plenty of things that you've made on there.
Cheesecakes, cookies, pie. Yeah, we made a lot.
Yeah, you can still do sweets. You just don't use sugar anymore.
Well, I mean, like it's not just desserts. I mean, it's a lot of, like, we've done keto lasagna, chicken pot pie. Now, chicken pot pie was really difficult. It actually took a lot, but I mean, it was keto spaghetti. So there are alternatives. There are plenty of alternatives you can do. It's just trying to find the ones that are friendly. Keto friendly isn't the same as actual keto, because a lot of things say they're keto friendly, and like
low carb.
Keto friendly candy, it's like 10 grams of carbs per candy. It's like, dude, what?
There's your carb intake for the day.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it definitely works, and it's you know, it can be a long-term thing. I've met people that did it and never went back to eating normally, and they maintain their weight. They get to their, like I would probably, if I would have stayed keto, I probably would have dropped to about 185. If I would have probably went 185, 190 in there and just would have stayed, because that's.
I'll take you out at that weight.
But it teaches you as well, like on how you're definitely a nutrition label junkie at that point, because you look at everything and you learn how to subtract things out, like fiber out of carbs, to realize, oh, this only actually has this many net carbs, and so on and so forth. Anyway, enough of keto. Let's get back to the election, and we are currently starting to see results roll in here, and obviously these are going to be very preliminary results, because this is just going to be the polls that are closing, and then over what have y'all even heard how long they're expecting this to go for them to count?
2022 before we know who's president.
I've heard anything from a few days to potentially even a few weeks, because of all of the mail-in, from the military and stuff like that. It could potentially take a few weeks.
Whoa. A couple states just closed and jumped up. It's now 85-55 Biden.
Yeah.
But and Georgia is light blue right now as we speak.
Wait, 85-55?
85 votes.
Votes.
Yeah.
I'm thinking percentages, like, wait, what?
No, 85 electoral votes to 55. And actually, currently, Trump is winning the whatchamacallit vote, the popular vote. Yeah. Which is interesting to me. So I'm sure y'all have all seen it. Y'all have all heard it all over social media today. People posting their voting stories, go out and vote, and this. The one that stood out to me today was the biggest, egomaniac, possibly the biggest egomaniac, second only to Trump in this nation. Kanye tweeted today that he voted for the first time ever. And
isn't he like 40?
He's 43.
Yeah. 43 years old and just voted for the very first time in his life.
What a loser, man.
And he's like, I voted for someone that I trust fully and truly. Me. Oh my God.
The odds for Kanye, like they had it tiered like under 250K, like 500,000 was like plus like 120, and like how many y'all, and when it's all said and done, how many votes do y'all think Kanye is actually gonna get?
Hopefully less than 10,000.
Yeah.
I was thinking around like 20K.
I think he's not gonna get that many. He's Joe Jurgensen is gonna split some with him. So He might take some of Joe Jurgensen's votes or whatever.
I bet Joe Jurgensen beats him too.
I wouldn't be surprised. I hope it. I hope it's just such a shaming experience for him, and he just, he gets humiliated out there. Because this is it's been nothing but a publicity stunt, a ploy, a self-serving stroke of ego. Like, ugh.
But for like him, I think he's in the same boat as Trump, where they realize like there's no such thing as bad press.
Yeah,
bad press is good press. It all works out.
So the heart of racism is pretty much red. From West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama are all solid red right now. South Carolina, solid red. Florida is light red. Georgia, though, is steadily getting bluer. Texas, early results are coming in light blue.
Nice. I know what's my man, my favorite candidate, Beto O'Rourke. He was saying that that they could a couple weeks ago that Texas could potentially be a blue state.
Wouldn't that be some shit if Texas and Georgia both go blue in the same year?
That'd be crazy.
But that's like that picture I sent y'all. Said if all of the states that Ludacris mentioned in his area code song went blue, then...
I mean it would probably be a pretty accurate representation of what's going to happen, because it's like it's all the coastal states were blue pretty much. A couple here smattered throughout the Midwest, and then like the whole middle was red. So
at this point, I mean, y'all saw that whole with the Biden bus that was like, I forget where they were.
Texas.
And it was a whole bunch of Trump Trumpers in Austin. Yeah, it was in Austin, Texas. And they were all like barricading him in like what in the world, man? Like at this point, if you associate with Trump, that's who you are. Like, I don't care what other beliefs you entail, or you're like, oh, this, Trump is the, the anti. Nah, man, you associate yourself with those racists, those psychopaths, those, just the complete worst people of this society. Like,
it's all that was bullying, an attempt to bully and intimidate, and it was like we were living in a fascist state. Like,
yeah, it's ridiculous.
But I mean, that's ultimately why the Lincoln Project exists now, because they said that every ugly thing about the Republican Party has come to light, and people have abandoned the actual values of the Republican Party and are now, they now support the ugliest side of the Republican Party, the one that they didn't like to show years ago or openly show.
What is the Lincoln Project, Micah, for those of us that don't know?
So the Lincoln Project it's a bunch of influential Republican figures. So Arthur, Rick Wilson, what's her name? George. She was, damn it,
I don't know.
Kellyanne
Conway.
Yeah, her husband.
Okay.
Is part of it because he can't stand Trump. So it's about 12 or 13 very wealthy and influential people who were formerly Republicans, and they felt that the Republican Party has left them behind. So what they're doing everything they can to essentially get Trump out of office and try to bring the Republican Party back, either bring the Republican Party back or kind of create a new or help the Democratic Party kind of, swing things back.
So this is like history repeating itself then, because this is what happened when the parties flipped.
Yeah.
This is exactly how it happened.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's very intriguing to me, because I've never.
Yeah, they did an interview on them on 60 Minutes about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and they talked about how they feel left behind. So now they're doing everything they can, whether it's posting doing media commercials, media spots. They said and they even talked about the state of Georgia. They said if Ralph Warnock doesn't win the election for senator, they said they're gonna move to help him win the next senator seat, win another senator seat. So
Wow.
yeah,
Georgia just went back to light red, and Texas is still strongly blue.
wow.
You got anything else on that, Marco? You had something to say?
No, nothing to say. Just about the whole flip, how like the pre-Vietnam Republicans were Democrats or whatever. But yeah, I know. I just think, I don't know, man. Politics have made me very tired.
Well, we'll get into that later. But I was watching a video about the flip of the parties and actually the huge movement of racism. And I'm going to get the Carolina wrong. And it was one of the Carolinas where they had wealthy black people and wealthy, like educated previous slaves, like their ancestors in Congress and in Senate and were state representatives, and they had their own towns and things like that. And that was part of the reason they flipped.
That was, I think it was North Carolina.
Yeah, I think it was North Carolina. But anyway, that's a long, long story that we won't get into right now. So yeah, election night, no need to tell y'all to vote anymore for another. Well, vote in your local elections as well. That's hugely important.
Within the next 2 years.
Yeah, they're all the time. They're. I mean, even down to like your mayors and things like that is very important.
Yeah,
especially if you're a homeowner. All righty, let's move to the Grits Blitz. We kind of abandoned that for a little while. Let's bring it back. Let's bring the Grits Blitz back.
No, we never abandoned. You said it last week.
No, I didn't. I remember not saying it. So yeah, the Falcons, played on Thursday night, played the Panthers. We already covered that. But now this will be the week of results that followed our Sunday run or recap of the game, or I guess technically Thursday recap of the game last week, and then our Tuesday episode. So we saw actually a bunch of really tightly contested games for the most part. There was some pretty nasty weather up north that held a lot of these games low scoring as well. And then,
I don't believe a single over/under line was over 50 points this weekend.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh well, there was a couple that went over, but just barely. Or yeah, there's a couple, quite a few actually went over. But we'll cover these and kind of do what we did last week and give some quick insight on it. So we saw the Patriots and Bills go down to the wire. The Patriots fall to 2-5. I think this is further cementing that who made that team up there. You lose Tom Brady, he goes down to Tampa. They're now 6-2, and the Patriots are 2-5 with Cam Newton, a former MVP, under center. What are y'all thinking about that?
I think Bill Belichick was very candid about why probably the most candid I've ever heard Bill Belichick be about why his team is in that position. He pretty much alluded to the fact that, not only did they have to get Cam on a discount because they have no money, but that has also led them to have the cupboard bare. So they really don't have the talent, that they've had through he even alluded to the fact of how good they've done for the past 5-6 years. And how, it was inevitable almost that they would be at this point. So
they also had a ton of players on defense, especially go out preseason with COVID concerns.
Opting out. So, I don't think I think I was almost being optimistic, hoping that Cam would do well, and they started off looking so good. But, I mean, we can't blame Cam here, but it's almost like this was bound to happen. I just don't think anybody was ready to just write the Patriots off like that.
Personally, I just think it's kind of just a stream of unfortunate events that happened, with the players opting out. I don't think, and then Cam, once Cam caught COVID, once he came back, he just wasn't the same player. I mean, he was playing very well pre-COVID, and then ever since he's come back, he struggled so much. It's like his timing and rhythm is completely off, and whatever all of the rhythm he had before COVID is just not there. And I mean, it's just like I guess Belichick is still Belichick. I mean, that defense has still been solid for the most part, but with even minus all of the talent that they've lost due to COVID, but the offense just hasn't come along. And even more, even like it, and they struggled last year at times, but they're really struggling now because Cam isn't as consistent as far as like, throwing the ball and stuff like that as Brady is. So, I mean, I think
do you think that Cam has regressed since COVID, or do you think that those first couple games where they did good, do you think people just had a chance to sort of watch what they were doing and then just lock in and adjust to that? And Cam, like you said, he's not very dynamic in terms of hitting, the open receiver, which is hard to come by in New England right now. So what do you think it is? Do you think it's that just a film and preparation, or do you really think Cam is just digressed since COVID?
I think it's a little both. I think like I do think his rhythm, his timing is off, because I've seen a lot of passes that were just like he was throwing passes later than he probably should, where like, a crossing route where a receiver was open and he threw it late, and then threw a dart kind of back shoulder on the receiver, which as hard as Cam throws, it takes a special receiver to catch some of those balls. I do also think that some of the running aspect of Cam, a lot of teams are playing that better or have adjusted to it. And until he can figure out some kind of way to kill teams with his arm, I mean, he's going to struggle.
Yeah. And for those of y'all that didn't know, the Patriots actually led the NFL in opt-outs this season. And 5 of the 8 that opted out were starters on both sides of the ball. I mean, they lost like an all-pro guard in Marcus Cannon. Dante Hightower opted out. Patrick Chung, they're starting strong safety. They're starting tight end. Matt Lacoste opted out. Brandon Bolden, a guy who gets a lot of snaps from at running back. Their fullback, Dan Vitale. Marquise Lee, which was going to be supposed to be a big signing for them because he's the perfect type of guy. He's kind of like that Brandon LaFell. He's going to, go up to New England and see a revitalization up there. And then they had a backup guard opt out as well. So they really got hit hard preseason. And I do agree with y'all that this is more than just like, Tom Brady left. It's fun to say, but and the reality is Tom Brady left, and then you lost 5 other starters
right
for the season. And, you're now forcing to play with second stringers all over the place, which now forces third stringers to become your backup and play bigger roles. Not, as Falcons fans, we know what that's like when you see, JJ Wilcox being signed. You're like, yeah, we're going to have someone play strong safety this week. Who's going to play the other safety though?
They're right. They're like, they really thought Cam was Superman. like
right.
Cam, just come here.
Come on, man. I think, with a good set of receivers and another year in that Patriots system, I think Cam could be what we saw little bits and pieces of, but I don't think he can do it this year. It's just, I don't think I've ever seen a quarterback as cursed with getting serviceable wide receivers. Like Cam just can't go. I mean, he had a couple last year, but he was hurt.
Yeah. And
the year before that, he was hurt, but
there's one other one.
Steve Smith?
No.
Quarterback.
No, as far as quarterback, Josh Rosen.
Yeah, Josh Rosen.
Yeah, Josh Rosen. Remember when he got drafted by the Cardinals and got to start on a team full of rookie wide receivers and like a 34-year-old Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah. Boy, that receiving core was so trash.
And a terrible offensive line. Then he gets traded to the Dolphins, who like had a bunch of unproven receivers, inconsistent Devontae Parker, and a terrible offensive line. So it was just like, bro, good. He can't catch a break.
Now he's looking behind Brady.
Huh?
Now he's sitting behind Brady, learning the way.
Yeah.
Is that where he's at now?
Yeah, he's the Buccaneers backup now.
How did he end up? How did he go from a rookie deal to? I thought those lasted. Or did they like trade him or waive him, or how did that work?
Cardinals traded him, and then the But Dolphins released him, I
because
believe.
the Dolphins had so much cap space because they had like guys from Boise State, half of Boise State on their roster, and like 3 other colleges, and they were just like, yeah, we got like 70 million in cap space, whatever, get out
They
of
just
here.
ate it. They just ate it.
See ya.
Well, they didn't need anything because all the
Cardinals traded
guaranteed
them.
money went to
Yeah.
the Arizona.
That's true.
Oh, yeah,
So-
that's right. That's right.
Yeah, but
Another team who had a bunch of nobodies and like $60 million in cap space.
yeah,
So yeah, let's see what else happened this week. We saw the Titans get upset by the Bengals.
Golly.
Joe Burrow was out there wheeling and dealing, man.
oh yeah,
Wouldn't it feel so good to, like, there's bad things about being bad teams in the NFL, but after being bad for so long, it usually pays off. And it's someone like this, like the Bengals are like, oh, we suck. Hey, now we get Joe Burrow,
Right.
the best college quarterback ever, and who's looking like he's the real deal now here too.
Mm-hmm.
So you get that excitement. It's like, yeah, we suck, but man, our future is bright.
Right. And they're in every game. I don't think they've been blown out.
Yeah.
Maybe once but they've been in every single game.
And I mean, they've got a good running back. They got Joe Mixon. They just really need a defense, and they could really. I'm shocked AJ Green did not get traded today. I am shocked.
yeah.
Right.
I thought for
considering
sure
he
he was
said
getting
wanted
moved.
out.
What's that?
He could be seen. He was seen on the field mouthing that he wanted out of
Yeah.
there. He's like,
I mean, it just doesn't make sense to keep him.
Well, that Bengals ownership is allergic to things that make sense.
But yeah, I guess they said the Bengals have blown 4 17-point leads this year in the second half. I think they were saying that during the game.
Are they our sisters of the North?
Yeah, I think so. Because I was like, wait, isn't that our stat?
Right.
We got some in the West too. The Chargers have blown a bunch of big leads.
Yeah,
So
the Chargers
it's
have
like-
just been falling apart. Yeah, but we'll get to that in a second. The Chargers did a very questionable move this year. Raiders go and beat the Browns in one of the windiest games I've seen in a long time. Did y'all see those field goal attempts?
Yeah, I did.
So-
I was watching on Red Zone.
It was like multiple times where it was like a 25, maybe 30-yard kick, and you'd see the ball get kicked, and I was like, gonna split the uprights, woof, and just take off and go like 10 yards left of the upright. It was insane. I'd never seen anything like that.
What was the final score? It was like 13
16
to
to
6.
6.
Okay, 16.
Because I mean, it was just run the ball because you couldn't throw it.
Yeah,
If you did throw it, it was 5 yards or less.
because they played the Browns, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, and
in Cleveland.
I started Baker Mayfield and it was like 118 yards.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, it was literally just both the teams just feeding their running backs up and down the depth chart. They're like, it seems to be defense and running the ball. So
My question about that is like those two teams are both allegedly good, but sort of suspect. Out of those two teams, which do you envision finishing with a better record?
I think Mike and I will probably have the same answer on this.
While I think the Browns have more talent, I believe the Raiders are the better coach team, and I think they'll do better down the stretch. Plus, they're in a much less competitive division.
Yeah, Micah literally gave the answer I was going to give. So,
Right.
Yeah, John Gruden is just a really good coach.
And they already stole one against the best in the division. So
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs is a hell of a running back. Derek Carr's playing pretty good football. He's not playing great, but he's playing pretty good football.
I mean, but do you really see like the Browns competing with the Ravens? Not, I mean, they might compete, but beating the Ravens or the Steelers this year.
They're not beating the Steelers ever.
So I mean, and then the Steelers just made some moves. So I mean, it's
Steelers
like I said,
it all.
the Browns are one of the most disappointing teams in so many ways, though, because it's you think oh man, this team talent wise, this team should be
Boy,
late in the playoffs.
they're like
but
a Madden dream come true.
Exactly. But when on the actual execution and game plan and stuff, it's just like,
In Madden, I might start freaking what's his name over Mayfield. No.
Who's their
What's my
backup?
man from Minnesota? Who had
Yeah.
Case Keenum.
yeah, Case Keenum.
I'm starting Baker. That's
Baker's terrible, man.
And you got Anyway, so yeah, in that division with the best defense in football, I don't think they may finish 9-7. They may steal one here that I don't see and go 10-6, but anywhere between 7-9 and 9-7, I would not be surprised.
Oh, the Browns.
The Browns.
And I could see the Raiders finishing somewhere around there too, just because of their division with the Chiefs. Well, yeah, they already stole one of the Chiefs, so yeah, maybe they may go like.
I mean, they
6,
can
11,
they can sweep the Broncos and
They get us.
Chargers. Chargers. I really don't think the Chargers are going to beat anybody in their division.
Chargers are looking at how can we dump some of these guys. Anyway, we'll get to that in a bit. Speaking of really good defenses, though, the Colts just smacked the Lions, 41-21. Matt Stafford looked pretty good. He threw 3 touchdowns, but Phillip Rivers looked even better. Old Man River came out to play and threw himself 3 touchdowns, and really just marched up and down the field on the Lions. And that Colts defense, man, that Colts team, period, is going to be one that's overlooked and be so dangerous in the playoffs because they have 2 things that's going to carry them: a really good defense that does not give up a lot of points and has a lot of takeaways, and they have a great offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to be able to dominate.
They'd be
the point of
blowing
attack
people
on
out.
both sides. Yeah, man, they are.
Imagine if Neckbeard didn't leave. That'd be like
God, that team would be good. That team would be like, it'd be like the Patriots or the Chiefs and the Colts are the 2 best teams in the NFL.
They might be Super Bowl favorites if Andrew Luck were still there.
Good night, man. That team would be so good. Yeah. What do you think of the Colts, Micah? Are you sold on them like me, or are you waiting to see still?
I think. Well, I thought they were talented last year. Now, what's his name? Just Jacoby Brissett was way too passive and just like dink and dunk. You got a receiver open 30 yards downfield. No, I'm just gonna hit this running back in the flats because I'm not gonna pick the ball. I'm not gonna throw a pick. But I mean, I think what they needed was a more decisive, a little more gunslinger of a quarterback, guy who was going to throw the ball downfield. I don't think that they're better than the Steelers or the Chiefs, because I think ultimately both of those teams can score on that Colts defense, and I think that offensively, I don't think they're quite good enough to keep up in a high scoring game with those 2 teams, but I think they could legitimately make a nice little run, maybe divisional round. Or I mean, if somebody else can shock the Steelers or Chiefs, then they could go AFC Championship game.
They're about to get tested in the second half of the season. I just looked at their schedule, and oh my goodness, they go Baltimore, Tennessee, Green Bay, Tennessee, then Houston. Then Las Vegas, then Houston again. But Houston is a division game.
Yeah.
Then they go Pittsburgh and then Jacksonville. Then Jacksonville beat them game 1.
Right.
But you know, Houston's one of as bad as Houston has been this year. You can't count them out in especially in divisional games, because 1, the defense is actually going to give some effort, and 2, Deshaun is still Deshaun. He is a beast. So, you know, you'll mess around and take them lightly, and he'll put up 3 something and 4 touchdowns against you, and you wind up losing.
Yeah, I think Phillip Rivers will ultimately be the reason that team peters out.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, I just don't trust his arm anymore, man. If people load the box and play short to intermediate defense on them, it's like, Phillip, can you throw it deep anymore?
Or just blitz.
God, he is. He'll pick it up, but can he throw it far enough to get past the defense, and can he move quick enough to get out of the way?
Bro, That reminds me of that one Madden game when I had him and I scrambled for a 4-yard first down.
Yeah, I remember that.
One of the dude I was playing, his guy ran about 25 yards in the time it took for me to run 4 with Philip Rivers.
He might be the slowest quarterback in the NFL right now.
I sidestepped him and just kind of laid the ball forward for first down. Oh man, he was pissed.
All right, so Vikings go into Lambeau and beat the Packers. Alvin Cook went the fuck off.
He had 100 yards in the first half.
Yeah, he went up with 163 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns on the ground, and then another one through the air.
Yeah.
I guess we've seen, now we know what Green Bay's weakness is.
I mean, we knew that going in, but what did we do?
Yeah.
We knew that going into the game against Green Bay. We even talked about it. We talked about it on the show. Attack their linebackers. Run the ball.
But I mean, well, here's the thing though. But we also don't have, like I said, they have Kubiak who knows how to do that and can execute Shanahan's playbook comparable to what Shanahan can do versus Dirk Cutter running somebody else's playbook.
Nah, bro. Dirk Cutter's really smart.
I'm sure he is. He just teaching the subject he doesn't know much about.
That's the best. Yeah, that's the best way you can describe Dirk Cutter.
Like I got this degree in PE, but they got me teaching political science. So okay, we'll see.
Whatever. Let's give it a shot.
His snarky comments will get him through.
Oh, but then the Chiefs went and swag surfed all over the New York Jets.
Yeah,
Lord,
and it was not pretty.
That was the bet of the day. Chiefs covering the spread.
I'm sorry, Trevor. You're going to be wearing green next year.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Don't do it, Trevor. Stay one more year until we're the number 1 pick.
Sam Darnold's back though.
Yeah, but they're talking about he had to have an MRI on his shoulder again just to make sure that there was nothing more serious about it. There was nothing serious in there.
That was like, wait, you sure you want to play? You sure you want to come back, Sam?
He's like, no. Ouch.
Let's go send you to the Chargers, doctor.
Let Flacco take the abuse.
Boy, I mean, I don't think Darnold's a bad quarterback from the time that I've watched him. He just, like, what are you supposed to do with that?
Yeah.
Yes,
I mean, literally, what are you supposed to do with what they got? You got a running back in Le'Veon Bell who couldn't run because the offensive line is 5 bowling pins. Now it's Mekhi Becton and four bowling pins. A defense that's just getting picked apart by trades. You know, they were full with first round picks and guys that they picked up in free agency that were really good elsewhere, and then the first round picks you got on defense aren't doing anything. So yeah, I mean, and then your number 1 receiver is Jamison Crowder.
Yeah.
Which he's good, but not.
I mean, he's good because he's the only person who can create any type of separation.
Yeah.
Right.
They got a solid tight end in Herndon, but he's hurt all the time.
Right.
So
and has questionable hands.
Yeah.
And they try to throw wheel routes to Frank Gore.
You got a 60-year-old running back, a running back who was born in 1935. All right, I got it.
And then your head coach is doing whippets on the sideline.
Oh my God.
Like, it's just like, man, the Jets are a terrible situation. Like, awful.
That's why if Trevor stayed, that'd be so funny.
He should.
Right.
If a dumpster fire had a logo, it would be the Jets logo.
Jets.
Charles Barkley was actually on Dukes and Bell the other day. It was last Thursday or last Friday, I believe.
It's every Friday at
every Friday. That's right. And they were asked him about Trevor Lawrence and if he should come out or not. He's like, yeah, he definitely should. He's like, if you can win in New York, it's like that's at least 10 to 20 million more a year because of endorsements. And it's just like, is it
Yeah.
worth it? You know, the risk that extra $10 to $20 million if you win, or if your career is literally flushed down the toilet because you have no talent around you.
I mean, don't get me wrong. He's a lot better than Sam Darnold, and he'd probably do better. It'd be more like a Joe Burrow effect where this team is competitive, but at the same time, it's like you said, is it worth it?
Well,
I don't know, man.
Here's the thing. I'm hard on Darnold, but I feel like if you got almost anybody outside of maybe Jeff Fisher to coach Sam Darnold, he would be a lot more productive. I mean, like Adam Gase is an offensive guy, and he's literally outside of Jeff Fisher, the worst coach you could get to coach a young Sam Darnold. I mean, like Adam Gase had success with Peyton Manning as his quarterback, which essentially he didn't do anything except let Peyton call what you call, and he took credit for it.
Hey guys, I just beat this game with my Game Shark in. I'm really good at this game.
And now he's gotten 2 head coaching jobs off of having Peyton Manning, the human football brain.
Right. Ask Peyton the whole game. It's just ask Peyton. Ask Peyton.
So Peyton, what do you think on this one? Good call. I like that. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too. Yeah. Me too, man. And then all right, so I'm gonna tell a story after this one. In the matchup that a lot of people didn't see coming, the Rams went into Miami, and the Miami defense dominated. Absolutely dominated. And this is what I've been trying to tell people for a while here. The Dolphins defense, they've got a lot of young talent in their front 7, and then their secondary is the best secondary in football. They have 2 lockdown corners and 2 really good young safeties. And they look like they're out there just playing football for fun, man. And that's a scary thing. When you have talent and they're having fun doing it.
Well, here's the scary thing. As good as their safeties look, they traded Minkah Fitzpatrick last year. And it's like, bro, this could have even been nastier.
They would have been giving up like 4 points less a game with Minkah Fitzpatrick there.
But Jared Goff is so bad. So bad. He is terrible. Like, oh my God.
He threw the ball 61 times against them.
He is so bad. Like, he has no field awareness, no vision. Oh,
bruh.
God.
Bruh, now granted, I did have Miami's defense starting in one of my leagues, but I had Tua starting in one of my leagues because I'm like, all right, I think he'll put up decent numbers against this dude had 85 passing. I don't even think it might have been 90. It might have been 90.
93 is what he finished with.
93 passing yards and a touchdown. And that's literally all he had to do because the defense scored so many points off of Jared Goff that it was just like, all right, well,
3 touchdowns.
All right, I'm just going
It was a kick return. It was a punt return. And then it was a pick 6, I think.
Pick 6 and a fumble recovery.
Yep.
Right. But yeah, they scored 28 in the first half and didn't have to score again.
I mean, they really couldn't.
Right.
But because Rams defense is really good too.
Yeah, Rams defense is still stout. That's the only reason they're a good team, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, just letting Jared Goff be a game manager and
Henderson's actually started to
their running game. Brown and Henderson together are playing so well that Cam Akers, even though when he is on the field looks really good, isn't touching the field.
Yeah.
They just have 3 really good running backs. But anyway,
seeing what Sean McVay's strategy is.
Sean McVay is such a good offensive coordinator.
Matter of fact, just take Jared Goff off the field and like direct snap to the running backs. We're gonna read
Wildcat, baby. Let's go.
Read option with the running backs. That's it.
That'd be gross. So the Dolphins defense is actually the defense that I ran in all my FanDuel leagues this week because I knew there was a high ceiling for him, and it turned out to be a good bet. And going into the 4:00 games, I was in 3rd place in a small league, and my winnings were like, I was winning a lot of money going into the 4:00 games, and I was like, I still have Jimmy Garoppolo left to go. I have like a quarterback, which is typically your most. That's where you get a lot of your points from. Running backs and quarterbacks, you can just really rack up. And I was like, he's going against Seattle, who can't stop anybody through the air. This is going to be awesome. I'm going to win a lot of money this week.
Ow, my ankle.
And then the third snap of the game, Jimmy Garoppolo tweaks his ankle again. And now he's saying, no, this is a totally different injury. I thought I had bad ankles. Holy shit, Jimmy Garoppolo. So I go from winning quite a bit of money at the beginning of the 4 o'clock hour to once those games are over, I'm now completely out of the money in every league I was in.
Wow.
So so how does that work? You win and then you lose based on.
It's like a sliding scale, and there's like, depending on how many people are in the league, like the leagues that let in over like 500,000 people, there's like several $1 million worth of the pot, and like the top percent of the league wins money, and based on where you fall, like first place in those 500,000 leagues, you win $1 million if you come in first. If you barely make the money, you'll make like $5 per entry. If you're in like the top 3, it's usually a couple thousand. But this was like a smaller league, so I was pulling in like $300 a lineup for that, and I had over 63 lineups in, because a lot of these were like dollar and nickel entries. So yeah, that sucked, man. I was excited. I was like, man, I'm about to pay for everything for Nicole's birthday like right now. Like off of one lineup. Let's go. And then that happened. And then the thing that killed me the most was Nick Mullins, their backup, comes in and just kills the Seattle defense, so as any quarterback should. I was like, God, I would have made a lot of money this weekend. But fucking Jimmy Garoppolo and his old girly ankles. All right. Anyway, the Steelers and the Ravens, which was the big matchup a lot of people were looking for. Steelers defense, even though some of our Baltimorean listeners will tell you that the Steelers don't look that good, man. They just had a lot of calls from the ref, and we just beat ourselves. And granted, the Ravens had a lot of injuries. They lost their best tackle, Ronnie Stanley, to a gruesome leg injury, and he's going to probably be out for this year and then some of next. And one of their pass rushers got ejected. It was a weird game, but the Steelers defense, like it was crazy.
At the end of the day, I've heard that excuse from not necessarily fans, but I've heard that on the radio a couple of times that that the Steelers aren't necessarily better, but that Lamar just made some mistakes. But at the end of the day, when your quarterback makes mistakes, then you lost that game justly. It's like, it's not like, you know what I mean? Because that's going to be your quarterback going forward. So he's bound to make more mistakes. So I don't see how that's an excuse. But yeah, the Steelers, to me, are going to have the Ravens card anytime they play them.
The scary thing is, so the Steelers had just lost Raphael Bush, their middle linebacker, not Raphael, Devin Bush. Their middle linebacker, who's a young, promising pass coverage linebacker. He was really good. He was a key piece of that defense. And they actually just traded for Avery Williamson from the Jets and literally gave him peanuts on the dollar for him. And Avery he's never going to be like a Pro Bowl middle linebacker. I think he actually made one. But you throw him in the middle of any defense, and the run defense is going to get exponentially better. He's going to cover decently, and he is just a really, really good football player.
Mm-hmm. He was ecstatic. He's like, I'm going to the Berg.
You go from 0-8 to 7-0.
Right.
Bro, like what? He was one of those pieces, actually. He was part of that Jets haul that when they had Jamal Adams at strong safety, and they went out and got Quinnen Williams, and they had Leonard Williams on the line, and they were like, you know what, let's go fill out this defense, and also let's get Le'Veon Bell. They got Avery Williamson, they got C.J. Mosley, they got like a corner. What was it, Johnson from the Rams, Tyrell Johnson? Yeah, they spent a lot of money. Tremaine Johnson, that's right. Spent a lot of money, and then just like it fell apart. So this is why the Jets are where they are. Chargers lose to the Broncos. Chargers just, as Micah mentioned, falling apart.
They blew a huge lead, like 20+ point lead at halftime.
24-3 is what it was at one point.
And Drew Lock brought him all the way back and throws the game-winning touchdown.
Bootleg to the right.
Our rivals to the south, the Saints, barely beat the Bears in overtime.
Barely beat the Bears.
Barely beat the Bears. This showed me a lot of weakness in the Saints. I know the Bears are a pretty good team, but the Saints,
Lord,
I don't know, man.
What?
That was a master class in terrible coaching. Like, oh my God. Like, like, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, watching that, I was like, wait, am I watching the Falcons right now? Like, first of all, they didn't kick that field goal that would have put them in a position to win the game when they did. And this is in a game where points were, at a premium, and your defense is an elite defense. Why are you chasing points? And then to close the game, that 2-minute drive with Nick Foles, that was one of the worst I've ever seen.
God.
Everything was in the middle of the field. 2nd and 10, they run a halfback dive. I'm like, what are y'all doing?
Dirt Cutter's whispering in his ear. Dive, they'll never see it coming.
That's Matt Nagy though. Matt Nagy's not that great of a coach.
He's terrible.
But no, here's the thing. Granted, I will give the Aints this, and that's they have been devastated on the offensive side of the ball as far as injury. Michael Thomas has played half a game this year.
Don't remind my fantasy team.
Yeah. So he hadn't played at all this year. That matter of fact, they were possibly looking to trade him because he's, but I mean, he's been killing, he's been out all, and then Emmanuel Sanders has been out the past 2 games. So, I mean, they're running with dudes on receivers. I had never damn, I didn't know that dude was in the league. and Drew, as good as Drew Brees is, he ain't putting up those kind of numbers with just random. You can't just throw somebody on the field and expect them to be like, all right, you get 100 yards.
Yeah, Drew Brees looks sort of not great.
He's washed, bro.
Yeah.
His arm is dead.
It's all 5-yard outs and slants.
Yeah, it ain't what I mean. Drew Brees used to be the best deep ball thrower in the NFL, and that's what made him elite.
Mm-hmm.
Like he could lead. Like he did what Russell Wilson is doing now.
Right.
He just didn't have the mobility, but throwing wise, that was Drew Brees. Speaking of Russell Wilson, he went into the Bay. Or no, I'm sorry, the Bay came to him. So 49ers went up to Seattle, and Russell Wilson just picked him apart.
Mm-hmm.
Just absolutely picked him apart. DK Metcalf went off. He's the next Julio. From what I'm seeing, he's the next Julio.
He don't have the same hands, but athlete wise,
Julio when he first came in was not as sure-handed as he is now.
No, I don't think he was as bad as DK though with the hands.
I still think Julio was a better overall route runner.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
but I mean DK physically,
maybe he's the next Megatron.
They had the playmaker.
Playmaker was Calvin had amazing hands.
Yeah,
that's a
the
hard.
Next Brandon Marshall.
No, he's better than Brandon Marshall.
He's somewhere in between Julio and Calvin.
He's better because Brandon Marshall was good, but Brandon Marshall was never explosive.
Right.
And I think he could be. Yeah, I think he's comparable to Julio. That's probably the best comp to him. I just think there were a few fine-tuning things that Julio was better at. Okay.
Imagine having prime Julio with Russell Wilson.
Good God.
Don't even.
And then you throw Tyler Lockett across from him.
21 touchdowns in a season.
And then on defense, you have the best middle linebacker in the game and the best strong safety in the game and serviceable guys around him.
Yeah.
But the playmaker, Michael Irvin.
And a front office that is aggressive in the trade market when they need pieces.
Yeah.
He compared DK more to Julio than Calvin because they asked him that same question. But I'd just say that he's maybe just one tier below Julio just because of the hands and the route running.
If he gets his hands and his route running better, though, which he will because he'll spend more time in the NFL.
Stay on that jug machine nonstop.
Yeah. I mean, just look at the jump that Calvin made this last year. If he does something like that at 6'3", 230 pounds and running a 4.3.
Yeah, he's the biggest, fastest receiver.
What? It's just silly. And then probably the ugliest game. Even the Raiders and the Browns was not this bad. But in a game of ineptitude, in the NFC East, the Eagles beat the Cowboys mercifully 23-9, but it was like 6-9 for the longest time. And it wasn't like bad weather. It was just bad offense.
DiNucci played like
decision
Dookie.
making.
DiNucci's awful. Carson Wentz is just okay. And he has, I'm sorry, he's pretty good. He still doesn't have receivers.
Well, but even still, he is the ultimate gunslinger.
Yeah.
And like that first fumble, it's like rolling out to the left. They showed clips. There's literally nobody on the left side of the field. And he's signaling for a receiver to come over, and then takes a hit and just fumbles the ball. It's like, bro,
he got rock bottomed.
Throw it away.
He got rock bottomed on that one. Then he got spine busted on another one that he fumbled.
Playing Carson Wentz for a defense has got to be so fun.
It has to be, because he has nowhere to go with the ball, but he's still gonna try to force it.
Front sevens are just like, oh, you gonna get it today.
2 fumbles, 2 picks. Yeah, he played, but still managed to get away with that win.
The funniest thing to me is Cowboys fans are so excited, like our defense finally showed up. Not really. I mean, he was just so bad. His decision making was so poor that it made your defense look that much better.
God, and Mike McCarthy, another terrible coach. He started the game off with all these college plays and these Dubo Daddy plays, like zing around the edge and all this kind of stuff. And then
like such a bad coach.
He really is.
But that's Kellen Moore. I've been saying that they kept Kellen Moore, and he's not that good of an OC.
Yeah.
And they tried to, at the end of the game, they still were within striking distance, and they tried to put the ball in DiNucci's hands.
All right, DiNucci, we believe in you.
After he'd shown nothing the whole entire game, they try to, drop back. They put him like in a shotgun or something on like a 4th and short. Like, what are y'all doing?
Oh, Micah, you want to talk about your boy Andy Dalton here?
Oh, man. So, yeah, the Cowboys, Cowboys can't seem to catch a break. So, Dak breaks his ankle, which is his first injury, of his career. So they had Andy Dalton as an insurance policy, as a, tested vet. Even if Dak went down, you feel comfortable with him managing games and potentially getting you some wins. He gets knocked out with a concussion, misses this week, and as he's recovering from the concussion, he finds out he has COVID. So now he is out another 2 weeks. So we have 2 more weeks of the DiNucci show in Dallas. And he's not non-asymptomatic. So he's not asymptomatic. So he is actually feeling the effects of the virus. So while I hope he recovers and recovers 100%, DiNucci, good luck down there. You're the guy.
What happens if DiNucci gets hurt? Does Kellen Moore suit up?
I'm telling you, man, Kellen Moore's gonna activate himself.
I don't know why they haven't signed Kaepernick yet. Like, no jokes aside, like, go get that man. Like, stop playing around.
Yeah, Jerry Jones.
Yeah,
Jerry Jones will suit up before he signs Kaepernick.
He'll try and bring Aikman back out of the booth.
Literally. All right, Troy, how much is it going to take?
You need some of these glory holes. I got to deal with it.
Oh, man.
Oh, Jesus. And then, in probably the most surprising game, the surprising story, the Buccaneers barely beat the Giants, the decimated Giants. And you know what, Marco? Just talk about your boy Daniel Jones here.
Danny Dimes, like, his flashes of greatness. Like, he throws some balls, like the 2 touchdown passes he had was like, wow, this guy, that's where he got his nickname from. But then everything else is like, wow, this guy is never going to learn anything to set himself above like a mediocre quarterback. Like, To me, Danny Dimes is what Taysom Hill would look like if he started in the NFL.
Bruh, it reminds me. It's like, the Giants fans were questioning like why they used the 6th pick on Daniel Jones when there were other very qualified quarterbacks that you could have picked. And
I remember the draft.
now it's just like, yeah, we need to so they're asking again, why did we go 6th for this guy? I mean, like,
bruh, like this, the looks on the Giants fans' faces at the draft when they drafted Daniel Jones was priceless. Because everyone was like, "Oh, all right, there's no way that these talks about them liking Daniel Jones is that serious." And then, no, that's what it is. And they like Daniel Jones, and they were just like,
Right.
"What?"
Were we at the Mercedes?
Yeah, we're at the Falcons stadium.
Yeah, and we had that one random Giants fan sitting behind us.
Something about those North Carolina colleges, man. They just take risks. I don't know why these quarterbacks rank so high on these draft boards.
Talk about suckering people into drafting bad quarterbacks. I thought Jimbo Fisher was good at that.
Bro, it's North Carolina schools. It's something, these basketball schools with quarterbacks and teams, they look good. Even though they didn't win a single game of importance in their career. Oh, that's a good quarterback right there. Right. Draft him high.
All right, so who has the most upside to them? Daniel Jones or Mitch Trubisky?
Daniel Jones. At least he can throw some balls.
I think the athleticism in the right offense, I think Trubisky could potentially
be Josh Allen.
Be a lesser, like, poor man's version of Josh Allen.
Wow, that's really poor. That's destitution right there. Because Josh Allen
has a cannon though, but I think like here's the thing with, I guess, Daniel, like who was it they were talking about last night? Jason Garrett said his frustration with Daniel Jones is he doesn't seem to learn from his mistakes. And it's like, we've talked about this. You can't make that decision. Like that pick he threw where it was like, all right, shake off a sack. Let me throw this behind this receiver. Let me miss this receiver over the middle by 3 yards and throw it right into this defender's hands. Like, bro, what are you doing? Like, throw it away. Something, man. Come on, man.
At least Mitch will just run.
Yeah. He'll take off. He'll take off before he just throws it straight to a defender.
Before he ever thinks about running, about throwing, he'll just run.
I'm out.
Right. His first and second option is run.
Offensive line are like, wait, no, what are you doing? We've got this locked up. He's like, I'm out of this.
I'm getting out of here.
He turned play action to zone read.
Oh,
that was a play action call. I just felt like I had a lane to run, coach.
You are really not a running back, Mitch.
Right. The Bears should let Mitch move them past the 50-yard line, then put Nick Foles in.
Nick Foles looks awful, by the way.
He does. There was that one play that Matt Ryan could have picked up that first down, but he pulled back and tried to throw it.
Oh, yeah.
Bruh.
Yeah. All right. So that's the end of that, the recap. So let's take, you want to do a quick break? Because that was fairly long.
Yeah.
And then go into the rest of that and fly through like just the other sports, like the breakdown of the Falcons and what we're going through.
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
Yeah, that works.
So yeah, we'll take a quick break here. Old Donnie Boy's creeping up on Joe Biden. It's now 85 to 72, but I mean, it's not even close. Like Georgia's only at 33% reporting. Texas is at 55. Wow.
Yeah.
They're calling Oklahoma already when they're only 37% reporting. for Donald Trump.
But you do. I mean, you know, a lot of the Eastern Coast states are going to finish first, and a lot of them are red. So
yeah. Well, Pennsylvania is 72% Joey boy, but it's only 8%, so that doesn't really matter. It's gonna be a long night and a lot of.
Yeah, I can't even bear to like stay with the updates. I can't even bear.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll be back after this short break. Enjoy these messages brought to you by the letter V. And welcome back from the break, guys. You missed a whole lot. It was like, for all you know, this is a whole day in between us coming back. You'll never know. It could be hours, it could be minutes. We'll never tell.
We start at 6 a.m. and end at 7 p.m. You never know.
So let's continue down this NFL path. Those game recaps went a little bit longer than I expected, but I feel like we got some good talks out of that. So let's go with the trade deadline, and we kind of touched on a couple moves there. First, let's cover the big moves that happened since we talked about some of them last week. Avery Williams went to the Steelers, as we mentioned earlier. The Chargers made a very, very interesting move, to say the least. They got rid of one of their young star cornerbacks, Desmond King, and sent him in division, or not in conference, to the Titans for a 6th round pick. This guy is not like a 29-year-old corner, like a 30-year-old corner who's like on the end of a contract, and he's going to be entering the decline of his career. This guy is 25 years old, was a Pro Bowl like alternate last year, and is one of the better cover corners in the NFL, and is 25 years old, and you gave him away for a 6th round pick to a conference opponent, and you're only one game below 500. Can anyone make sense of this for me?
Wait, they're one game below 500.
Are they either one game over or one game under?
Are they like they're like 2 and 4, 2 and 5?
I thought they were like 3 and 4,
2 and 5 or something like that. Yeah, they've lost a lot of games that they've had opportunities to win.
Let me see.
Yeah, I believe they only have 2 wins.
Standings. The Chargers are 2 and 5. Okay, they're a little bit worse than I thought they were. But they've also been in games, and they've got a very young, promising quarterback right here. And, they lost Derwin James to injury again. So, of course, there's going to be some drop-off. They've had some injuries all around the defense. Like, you're not looking at them like you look at the Jets. You're not looking at them like you look at the Falcons, who have had most of their players. We've had some little runs there where some people weren't in, but we haven't had a, knock on wood, a devastating season-ending injury besides KZ, who's technically a backup.
We're not like the Niners out here.
Yeah. It's like you look at those guys and you're like, okay, I could see why they're struggling a bit. They've had some players go down. But, I think Mike Williams just went down as well.
I mean, I hate to say it because it's a black coach, but usually when you blow leads like that, it has to do with coaching.
Yeah. Lynn is definitely on his way out this year, it seems, unless they drastically turn around. And the Chargers are that team every year. It's like, oh, we count them out, they're 0-4. And then, they come back and they go 12-4 on the season, or they go like 11-5 or 10-6.
But yeah, it doesn't make sense though for them to get rid of their premier cornerback for nothing, because they're not in a position where they really need to tank. You know what I mean? They're not in a position where it's going to help them to do bad this season.
And you can't replace them for a 6th round pick,
right?
Yeah,
unless you just get lucky. But you're also in a division with the Chiefs, who you need cornerbacks against.
Right.
So it's like, I don't get it. I mean,
they might have. I think I think when I talked, I've said my coworker is a Chargers fan, and when I talked to him today, and I was joking, saying Drew Lock is the truth. He basically was just like, yeah, I think our season's over. He's like, in our division with the Chiefs, and as good as the Raiders look at times. He's like, he thinks they're pretty much out of the season's pretty much over. They're out of the running.
He said
now,
that?
Huh?
He said that?
Yeah. I mean, he every now and then he'll be kind of realistic about it. And he's like, the only good thing he feels that has really come out of the season is that Herbert has looked a whole lot better starting out than they thought he would. Because I guess they figured Tyrod Taylor would be the game managed, and then late in the season they'd let Herbert come in and just see what he'd be towards next year. But it's like, all right, well, the offense looks better with Herbert than it did with Tyrod the one game that he played. So
didn't they win the one game he started?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, that's the crazy thing.
Tyrod be winning, man. I'm telling you.
But yeah, but the difference is they're putting up 20, 25, 30 points versus with Tyrod, you putting up, 10 to 17. And it's like, yeah, we'd rather have the explosive offense, but Tyrod got you wins. That's all that matters to me.
Mm-hmm. Another move, Quan Alexander got traded from the 49ers to the Saints. He did not do well in San Francisco like a lot of people thought he was going to do, but I think this is probably a really good fit for him. They love those attacking style linebackers. They love the ones that got a lot of speed to them. I think this is another DeMario Davis type move for them. When he left the Jets, a lot of people didn't think it was going to be that good of a move, but DeMario's been just an absolute stud for them. Buccaneers made a small move because Vita Vea got hurt. So they drafted they traded the Jets Steve McClendon, who's just another big nose tackle they can throw in the middle. But other than that, the Falcons did nothing on the deadline, day of the deadline, which was Tuesday at 2 p.m. is when it all came down. There were some rumblings that we were trying to trade Takk, but obviously that nothing came to fruition. Takk seemed pretty upset about it. He tweeted saying the Falcons aren't going to trade me. That could be just him announcing that or trying to make it seem like we weren't trying to trade him and we weren't doing.
That's the impression I got, that he was trying to make it seem like we were never going to trade him.
Yeah.
Or that he's too valuable for what they were offering. That's
right. So I mean, Takk's obviously done here. I'd be surprised to see him even come back for the rest of the season. Maybe he'll just sit out and rest the groin and do whatever. But that's just going to hurt him because it's just if he goes on what he's done this season alone, to help him in free agency. I mean,
he'll get
4 sacks in 3 years.
A mill or two, but I think that he probably will come back just because of that. Like he has to put something on tape because he's gonna get like a mill right now,
and that can only help us. So if he's going out trying to prove something and trying to really show that he's worth what he thinks he is, that can only help us.
Not to say he hasn't been though. He's just been so hurt. It's like
but that's the thing he has to show. He has to show that he can come back for these last 8 games, play healthy, and play well.
Right.
Yeah.
Big ask.
Well, and to get to warrant a actual sizable contract.
Anything the only other person contract.
The only other person that I know sat out a season before he went into free agency and still did well that next season was John Abraham.
And
he was a name brand at that point.
But at that point, John Abraham had decent numbers as a Jet. Then he got hurt and decided to sit out the rest of the season. But Takk doesn't even have decent numbers. He like I said, he's 3.5 sacks last year and 1 sack so far this year. So, it's like, all right, well, why? Like, so, and knowing him, he might be like, I want $10 million. Well,
he's a very proud guy.
yeah.
Right,
Why do you deserve $10 million? You've been hurt and you haven't produced. So yeah, I mean, he's going to need something to kind of coerce the team to give him more than that.
Yeah.
Coerce is the right word.
So yeah, what they wanted for him was a 4th round pick. But do you guys think we did the right thing in not making any moves?
We could have got a 4th round pick for him.
That's what we wanted for him.
Oh, okay, they were probably only offering 6 or 7.
Yeah. Which lets you know, like, if you go into free agency, you're worth a 6th or 7th round pick to other teams.
Right. That's like $2 million at most.
Maybe.
I personally, no, I disagree with us holding standing pat or whatever. I thought we would have benefited even from a 6th rounder. If we had were offered a 6th rounder for Takk, I think we can benefit from him because, you know, a 6th round defensive end, yeah, he might not produce much, but if a 6th round defensive end can get you 5 sacks in 2 years, boom, he's matched what Takk has done for us. So, I mean, who knows? Or Alex Mack. I think if you had traded Alex Mack and just went to Hennessy show, I think it could have cleared some cap space for us. I don't think we're gonna have that problem next year, but it could have cleared some cap space for us, as well as get us something in return because we're going to lose them anyway. So,
yeah, I honestly feel like the Falcons feel like they can still make the playoffs.
Yeah,
that's why I feel like they didn't do it. I feel like Raheem Morris has really reinvigorated them. And this team believes in themselves again. The front office is liking what they see. So
I mean, that's a tough. I don't know if we made the right move. I honestly agree with Micah where I think we should have tried to get something for him, just because I personally feel we're out of the playoff picture. And you know, anything he does for the rest of the season really will be just for his own good. You know what I mean? Maybe we'll get some wins here or there, but what's in y'all hear what Lionel sort of brought up in the chat about them doing a 16-team playoff?
Yeah, I saw that.
If they cancel some more games because of COVID, so now Falcons fans just have to hope that they cancel some, because that's the only way we have a playoff chance if they expand the playoffs.
I mean, and we play well.
Right. Yeah, that's a big caveat.
Right. So I'm not even gonna get into. Well, y'all kind of covered what we should have done, but some interesting news came out of Tennessee here about an hour or so ago. Vic Beasley. Oh, the Titans are reporting that they told Vic Beasley they're going to release him tomorrow. Tomorrow.
Stay home, Vic.
Yeah. See you later. Which has a couple of reverberating effects down here in Atlanta. One, if he gets released, we lose our compensatory pick.
God damn it.
Which would be a 5th round pick. And
so that's another reason we probably should have traded Takk.
Yeah. But it also opens it back up for us to welcome him back as like a situational or like a rotational guy for very cheap. Would you guys welcome Takk back in like a Charles Harris type of role? Yeah, sorry. Vic back is like in like a Charles Harris type of role.
Now it's funny though, because one of our fellow listeners, Taylor, hit me up earlier today. It was like, we can bring back Vic Beasley. And I said, I mean, unless we needed a team chaplain, I don't know if we have much use for him. But I mean, in that scenario, it depends. I think he's produced more than he's definitely produced more than what Takk has numbers wise. But I honestly, now to actually think about it, I am curious to see how differently Ulbrich and Raheem Morris would use him than Quinn would. So, I mean, if you can get him for $1 million or $2 million, hey, what the hell? I mean,
why not? Right?
Yeah.
I'd say the same. Like I think it all just it's sort of based on how was because I think I'm sort of starting to think he just didn't like Dan Quinn. So it sort of depends on how his relationship was with Raheem and Ulbrich. So yeah, I mean maybe I say why not? Like what's
I agree. I think a lot of, I mean, as much as Dan Quinn is talked about as being likable, like players who come from good systems, like Julio came from Alabama, Vic and Grady came from Clemson, they see what good, like great coaches do with them. And they realize that even as talented as they are, they were still schemed into some of their sacks, schemed into some of their pressures. And I think Ulbrich is showing that, like, hey, look, you got to be creative with how this pressure is. This 4-man front and just rush and let them win one-on-one all the time ain't going to do it. Like, even as good as Khalil Mack is, probably, and like Aaron Donald, they still don't just go one-on-one every time.
No.
They they move them all over. They rush them from different places. They give them different stances. It's just like you can't do that and expect to have a good pass rush in the NFL. So I agree with you. I think Ulbrich and Raheem would probably get really creative with Vic, and he's already familiar with the scheme. What would it hurt to bring him in for 8 games? And even if he did half of what he did last year, which was 7 sacks for us, what if he gave you 3.5 down the stretch? That'd be a solid investment.
I do, but my only question is how committed is he to playing football? Because they talked about the whole him wanting to have his own church, which is cool, which is great, but if you're a football player and you can still be a pastor and play football at the same time. You can, but you need to focus on if especially if football is the means that you have to build that church and open that church, then maybe you need to put a little more focus in the football so you can get that ultimate goal of building your church.
What would help you as a pastor and building a flock is being more popular and having more money.
Exactly.
Right. And I think and to that, I mean, I will say that, I mean, he was out there, so he obviously is okay with playing, but yeah, like to his long term, I would never invest in Vic Beasley because obviously his mind is not there to put the work ethic in to become great. I mean, he could have been with Chuck Smith, figuring out, Chuck Smith reached out to him. A lot of people reached out to him while he was here and he never took the help. Like I remember a big one when Dan Quinn was like, which I think rubbed him the wrong way. But remember when Dan Quinn was like, I want Vic to come in here early so we can get him right, blah, blah, blah. And Vic didn't even show up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So obviously his commitment to football is not there and it's not ever going to be there. But like you said, for 8 games, I don't see what the harm is.
Right. All right. So let's look ahead. Let's do this pretty quickly here. Let's not go too in depth just because this could take up the rest of the show if we did it that way. So we're going to play the Broncos here coming up this Sunday. They are going to be here. I had this up and I lost it because we went into all that other stuff.
Yeah, I think Broncos and Raiders are both here.
Yeah, I believe you're right, but let me just double check that. Yep, Broncos come here. So we play them Sunday at 1:00. Let's do it this way. Let's go predictions for the game first, like win or loss, and then we'll break it down. So, Micah, win or loss?
I say win.
Marco?
Just based on trends, the last time we played Denver, we beat them, so I say win.
Yeah, I say win as well. So why do you think we're going to win? And defend your answer with stats and reasons and areas of strengths and weaknesses. Marco?
I just think the Broncos are just not a very good team. They're, Drew Lock, has an arm, but he doesn't make good decisions. I think that, we're coming into a little stride where we're getting a little bit more confident in the things that we're doing and getting back to being good at the things that we're supposed to be good at. And I wouldn't be surprised if we go in there and blow them out.
Yeah. Micah?
I think I think that we offensively, I think we can move the ball against them. I think their pass rush minus Von Miller isn't quite as ferocious. They still have some good pieces on defense.
Bradley Chubb's a beast.
Huh?
Bradley Chubb is a beast.
Yeah. But it Bradley Chubb by himself can be dealt with, as opposed to Bradley Chubb on one side and Von Miller on the other side.
Right.
Then they have quite some pieces. They got damn, what's his name from Jacksonville? The corner.
Oh, AJ Boye.
Yeah, they got Boye, who's still a solid corner.
Yep.
And so they have some nice players. Offensively, their running game is inconsistent at most, but their running game doesn't scare me, and our run defense has been pretty good this year. So their run game doesn't really scare me. But they play action is something. If they can't get the run game going, play action is not as scary. So I think it's going to need Drew Lock to beat us on to beat us with his arm. They got a lot of young, inexperienced receivers, and as good as Jerry Jeudy was coming out of college, he hasn't been quite as effective, and he's banged up as well as KJ Hamler. So I think we wind up winning this game.
Yeah, and with Cortland Sutton being out, I would probably been looking at this at a different game. But yeah, I think you nailed it. They're a little inept on offense this year. They can be one dimensional unless Drew Lock does, have one of those splash quarters or splash halves where he just shows that potential and the reason that they drafted him. But I think for the most part, he's just
so much.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's pretty much, I'm gonna go a little Dennis Green here. He is who we thought he was, or Danny Green. Denny. What was his name?
Denny
Green. Yeah. And I think we're hitting our stride, as weird as that sounds, at 2-6. I think we're starting to see, it was a coaching problem. It was a scheme problem. Matt can manage himself well enough to where, we'll be in games. The defense can play well. The defense can definitely play well enough against this type of offense as well, where it's not like our defense right now is not going to go and shut down like the Chiefs, but I think against if they continue to play what they've showed, they could definitely hold their own and actually win the matchup against an offense like the Broncos. But yeah, I just think their defense is not good enough to stop us. Their offense is not good enough to beat our defense, and we'll win this one. And Matt Ryan will probably have a pretty average game, I would assume, because they'll probably play it pretty safe.
Todd Gurley will be the star.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna really take Matt out there and test that secondary, because it's a very good secondary. And if Von Miller was in there, this would have been a very scary matchup. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go probably like 29 to like 21. They may score like late to make it look a little bit closer than it was.
I think Gurley's honestly been the star of the past several weeks, because Matt touchdown wise, Matt has not produced much, and it's been pretty much, we get in the red zone, it's been the Gurley show. So
right, I think they're afraid to let Matt really try and take over down there, and you've seen Matt miss several open guys in the red zone this year. Especially the one that stands out the most is Calvin Ridley last game, running wide open, and Matt didn't even look there, and he threw it into a double team to try and force it to Julio.
Yeah.
Which is refreshing in its own right, that he's trying to force things to Julio.
The one time when it's like, no, dummy, don't force it then. What are you doing? But
yeah, maybe I predict perhaps maybe a pick six in this game, and our defense gets its first score of the season.
Yeah, because Devo's flying all over the place, getting interceptions, getting sacks. He looks rejuvenated. Foyer's just everywhere.
Yeah,
I'm really wanting to see. This is the last thing I'll say on this before I get us off this long football topic. I want to see more of the young guys, more of the guys like Kaminsky and uh, Michael Walker. See a little bit of
Definitely Kaminsky.
yeah, because Kaminsky flashed early.
He was raved about in training camp.
So I'd like to see us use him in different ways instead of just, Dan Quinn's thought, oh, you're a first and second down defensive end and a third down defensive tackle. I think he can be a lot more than just that. But yeah, anyway, that's the end of the Blitz Grits. That was
Grits Blitz.
Yep. Nope. It's going to just be the Blitz Grits forever for me just because my brain doesn't work that way. I don't know what it is. I don't know why I always do that.
It sounds violent.
The Blitz Grits.
I'm going to blitz these grits real quick.
All right, okay. Marco.
So, time for the layup, aka the finger roll, aka jelly time, aka points in the paint. And today's sort of a light basketball day. It makes sense that the football segment is the longest, considering that's literally the only thing going on in sports right now. But we do have some topics, and I just want to start off. It's voting time. I just want to highlight. The NBA has been, all these record numbers for early voting. We got to give a little bit of that credit to the NBA for putting up the initiative to open up all these arenas across the nation and give the inner city people a chance to go and vote early, quickly, and efficiently. And I want to point out Steve Kerr, who voted, I think, earlier this week, and then went back and was helping at the drop-off spot for the mail-in ballot. So, congrats to Steve Kerr continuing to be a great guy and just, doing stuff like that. But anyway, on to the actual meat of what's going on in the NBA. So recently, the Sixers are sort of shifting, and they're a little bit dissatisfied with what's been going on in their office for the past 5 years or so. So they made a shift and brought in Houston's number wizard with Daryl Morey, who they're paying a hefty sum of $10 million a year. And Daryl Morey is actually very positive about Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid playing together. And he mentioned that they've won 60% of their games and that he wholly expects a championship out of this. So I want to ask y'all, knowing what you know about the Sixers, how they're currently constructed, how realistic is a championship within the next couple seasons? Micah or Brian, did you heard a gasp?
Oh, I was going to say something, but you can go to Micah first.
Whoever wants it first.
All right. I don't think this version of the Sixers is made to win. They're not diverse enough. Embiid is the piece you can build around. I still think Ben Simmons needs to be traded for some pieces, unless he can show you that he can hit 50 to 60 3-pointers in a season this year. Like, until he gets shooting, you're not going to win. You're too good in all your other areas. Like, he's kind of like skill set wise only, like LeBron when he came into the league. He was so much more athletic than the players, and he was so much bigger than the people at his position that he can just get to the basket at any time. And his vision is really good. His defense is really good, but he just can't shoot. And people kind of knew, like, all right, this kid's really good, but, you're not driving the lane every time and dunking on people at this level. So I'm going to play off you. Yeah, and you also have to get rid of Horford. He does not fit well with Embiid at all. It just doesn't. It's too redundant, and it neuters Horford offensively, and it just clogs the lane for Embiid. So no, not until they make moves. And Morey is one to definitely wheel and deal. So I could definitely see him moving a couple people.
The analytics wizard, Micah. What you think about that?
This current build, not a chance. Not even a fraction of a chance. For a lot of what Ryan said himself. I mean, I like he compared him to like LeBron when he first came in the league. To me, he's like a 6'10" version of Rajon Rondo in Boston.
That's a good comparison.
Great court vision, great handles, can finish at the rim, but anything else is like anything like, oh, step out to the foul line extended and hit a shot. That's not my game. Not my game. like bro, he's the only point guard I know who has a better hook shot than actual jumper.
Oh,
I'm lethal with these hooks. but no, I mean, I think like you said, I think Embiid, but I'm not even sold on Embiid. Talent wise and just like Embiid has the total package, but dude has zero heart whatsoever. And there are plenty of times where it just doesn't even look like he wants to be on the floor. And not to mention, you know, he gets hurt in the most awkward, like you know, somebody turns a fan on and it hits his leg wrong. Oh, and he's out. I mean,
that play.
But like Horford, I didn't like the Horford pick when they first got him. And I just, like it was just, he's too similar to Embiid to fit. I actually like Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris might be one of the only players on that team that I'm just like, that's a good player right there. But I mean, at the same time, it's still how are you going to utilize him? I mean, it's too many pieces that they're not 100% sure how or what they're going to do with. And I think Daryl Morey, like, I mean, there are already rumors about trading Ben Simmons and getting like James Harden,
which is what we're about to get into next.
Yeah.
Before we get to that, I do want to say, like, I agree with Micah that they have absolutely no chance of competing with the way they're currently constructed. This team had a worse road record than the Hawks last season at full strength. And Tobias Harris is a very good player, but when Ben Simmons cannot score, Tobias Harris sort of proved in the bubble that you cannot go to Tobias Harris and rely on buckets. He's like a third option, maybe even a fourth option, because his one-on-one game is suspect. And that's sort of weird for a guy from New York. You know what I mean? You think he'd have that one-on-one game. You think he'd have that sort of like one-on-one confidence, but he doesn't. So as you said, the Sixers with Daryl Morey relocating a little north, he's interested in trying to get James Harden over there. And that might be possible because James Harden is a little bit unhappy about what Houston is doing in terms of his coach. They stated he wanted Ty Lue or John Lucas. Obviously, you can't get Ty Lue because he is now the coach of the Clippers.
Yeah.
He's the coach of the Clippers now. And I don't know. I guess John Lucas is just not on the list. What do y'all think a James Harden addition to the Sixers would do? And if not the Sixers, do you see James Harden being anywhere else where he could, sort of help that team? Obviously, he could help any team, but what do y'all think about this whole talk of Harden on the Sixers?
I mean, that'd probably be your Ben Simmons trade right there. And yeah, that'd be a really interesting combination with Embiid and Harden, just because we've seen him throw up big men before. But I mean, this is the next level big man.
Do you think that makes them a contender?
In the East, most definitely it would, yeah.
Micah?
I think it definitely makes them a lot better. It's definitely an upgrade because you have someone who can actually play outside of the perimeter. But I think the ball dominance, I think he's even more ball dominant than Ben Simmons, and I think that might potentially be a problem when playing with Embiid. But quick question. You talked about Harden being unhappy because of the coaching decision. Is it really the coaching decision? Or maybe it's just like, I can't play with Russ anymore. Get me out.
That's what I thought.
Any excuse will do. Like,
all the superstars that play with Russ are like, nah, I can see why they want to
go.
He just using the coaches. He's just using the coaches, the front runners up for coaching as an excuse. But it's like, no, I don't want to play with Russ one more season. I'm done. I'm done with
get out of here. I am trying to get out of here. So what I think. So I sort of think the Sixers should go a different direction than sort of what y'all said. I think the best thing for them to do, and I do bring up like what Micah said, I thought that was a great point. When you watch Joel Embiid play, his Valentine, like I think his heart game is questionable. Like he often looks like sluggish out there. He doesn't go for rebounds. He doesn't box out. All he does is just slink over to the 3-point line and shoot a terrible percentage. And, and he's dominant in the paint, which is disheartening. It's like, okay,
he's a beast in the paint.
He's a beast in the paint, but he never wants to be in the paint. So what I think the Sixers should do, if they could find a way to trade Joel Embiid to the Rockets for James Harden, if you had James Harden, Tobias Harris, and Ben Simmons, I think that's a team that could actually make some damage. Like Ben Simmons could be, the point forward. James Harden sort of, doing what James Harden does, Tobias as your third, fourth option. Then you could even keep Al Horford and he can continue to play center, power forward. And then I feel like that team would work a lot better because, James Harden and Ben Simmons can, share ball handling duties. And then Joel Embiid can go over there and play with Westbrook, and
oh God, that'd be even worse. Oh, I could not play with this guy.
Make that work. I mean, Westbrook could, throw 20 assists to
it'd be like that commercial. I am not happy.
Right.
You thought it was bad seeing Ben Simmons not be able to drive the lane because of Embiid.
Right.
Russ is gonna be like, why does this guy keep sitting out in the paint?
but still, but then the other reason why it works is because Houston is such an international market. And they have already had, they have the legacy with Hakeem. So bringing another African center in there would be a good look for that team. And you know what I mean? And it's just up to Daryl Morey to sell them on that, because I think it would definitely make the Sixers better. Whether that would make Houston better, I mean, I don't know. They're not going to win either way anyway. So let's move on to just general NBA stuff. And we can sort of quick fire this stuff. I don't know how much takes we have on this. So Boston is trying to trade all 3 of their first round picks that they have in this coming round to move up, but nobody is interested. Who do y'all think Boston is trying to aim for in this draft to improve their team?
I'm going to say one thing before I answer that. I think it's so funny that all these people are like, oh, Boston is always so rich in draft picks and they're going to be able to move wherever they want and that's where they can build. And then every single offseason, it's Boston has all these draft picks that no one wants. Everyone in Boston's like, why won't they take our draft picks? I don't get it. And the rest of the league is just like literally flipping them off like, fuck you, Boston. No one likes you. You're not doing this again. Nah. It literally every year. I remember that year was after the whole trade with the Nets, and they were like, we're going to move up and we're going to get the best player in the draft. And they just had to sit on those 8 picks. And they're like, we don't know what to do. And they literally drafted so many players that they had to cut. Well, our roster's full. Sorry.
Yeah.
But, hold on, Mike. Let me finish. I think they're trying to move up to get Wiseman because they need a big man.
For sure.
Yeah, that was pretty much what I was going to say. They're trying to move up to get Wiseman. The funny thing is, Ryan talked about how nobody wants to trade with them for picks, but whenever they had the opportunity to trade for players and teams wanted picks, they didn't want to move them. It's like, bruh, y'all are just sitting on these picks, and it's like, all right, you got an opportunity to move some of them for a proven player. Nah, we don't want to give up all these first rounders for this guy. And then now it's like, we don't know. This draft is terrible in the first round. We want to move up to the top, but nobody is willing to take. Nobody wants to move back to get.
Who the hell are you gonna get at the end of the first round in this draft? Like
Nobody. Future 6th and 7th man. I read an article a while back about why Boston did that, why they didn't trade in the season, and they rather keep them up until the draft because they felt like they could get more value out of them. Because when the draft is so far away, you don't view those picks as valuable as you do when you get into the whole like draft process. And you're
where were they wrong
about? Yeah, man. I it's so funny. And Danny Ainge is like, I am a genius. Shit. What do I do with 9 picks in this draft?
It's also interesting though, because usually we can we watch March Madness, right? And a lot of these players that we didn't necessarily know about shine. And then there's a couple, patter picks at the end of the first round. It's like, okay, this guy, or even early second round, but we didn't even get that. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like, man, yeah, no, it's no wonder no one wants those picks. But I guess the other bigs is James Wiseman, Obi Toppin, if you want to really consider him a big, or Onyeka Okongwu from Southern California, who's currently projected to the Hawks. So they could probably be aiming for one of those 3 guys. Doubtful. But yeah, but they're not going to get it anyway.
Obi Toppin puts them in a very similar position than where they are now.
Yeah.
Just a whole bunch of undersized athletic guys.
Right. Yeah. A stretch 4 who's not really a big.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on. This is a quick one. The Raptors may be forced to play in New Jersey this season due to the borders all being closed. What kind of advantage or disadvantage do you think that would be for them? Quick answers.
None, just less travel, I guess.
So no disadvantage at all.
Yeah.
It would be an immense disadvantage because that home court advantage up in Toronto is serious. That is a huge home court advantage.
They got devoted fans up there for sure.
You don't think those Jersey Net fans who haven't had basketball the past couple aren't going to come out?
Hell no. All they would do is come out and be like, "You're not from here."
Right. Go home.
You need to change your name to the Jersey Raptors.
Bo. Anyway, so now it's a couple free agent talks, free agent / trade talks. Just give me like a hot or cold on this, and we'll just keep it moving. Kelly Oubre to the Warriors. Is that a hot or cold? How y'all feeling about that? Would that help? What would that do for them?
That'd be a great fit for them. I just don't want to see him leave the Suns because I liked what he was doing there.
Right, I do like that team
really well.
Yeah, I think it's a good fit, but yeah, I think it's I'm kind of in the stance that their window might have closed. So even with Kelly Oubre, yeah, I think Steph's getting older. Clay's coming off the knee injury, which he's had plenty of time to heal. But
right, these dudes have had like 2 full seasons to recover.
but I just think some of the Lakers and the Clippers have more talent. And I think the Warriors run is kind of closed. So
as long as PG's on that team, the Warriors have a chance.
Yeah, I don't think that window's closed at all. Did y'all see that picture of Steph
with the braids?
No, how jacked he looks.
Oh yeah.
but that might not be a good thing for a 3-point shooter.
That just means he's start shooting it from the other side of the court now.
Right.
He won't even cross half court. He's just like, ha!
93-footer, swish.
It is cool. Just to bring that up, just a quick stat for our listeners. They said that Trae Young in one season shot more like logo threes and made them than Steph had in his entire career prior. So maybe that muscle can help him step back a little more because he can hit that shot. Yeah, but he's just not retarded like these new players.
Is Trae is Trae that stronger than Steph?
Hell no.
Like Steph will stroke it like from deep. He looks like he's just shooting a regular jump shot. Trae looks like he's like heaving that bitch from deep.
But all his shots look like heave, sort of. But
Only other person,
makes it
The
though.
first couple times, like, no. Oh,
the
Right.
only other person I've seen pull up from the logo nearly as much as
see if you
is
go where I think you're
Trey
going.
is Dame.
Yeah.
Oh,
Dame Lillard. He has gotten to a point where it's just like cross half court. Hey, set me a pick at half court. I'm gonna as soon as I come off the pick, I'm firing.
I'm pulling up.
Screw it.
and he added that this season. That's what took him to a different level. I thought you were going to go a different way though, and I bet a lot of people forgot about this guy and how he used to shoot from deep because it was such an anomaly back then. But Gilbert Arenas,
Oh,
Hibachi.
he was
Agent
probably,
Zero would pull it from deep.
Yeah, he's
and
probably
people
the
are
first
like,
person.
huh?
He's
Yeah.
honestly probably the first person to really do that. But then is he still getting paid? I think he's still getting paid to
Yeah.
not play basketball.
He's getting paid to be really active on the basketball realms of Instagram.
Right.
He's always in the comment sections, and he's going back and forth with fans. Like he is super active in those communities.
Right.
Hilarious.
I like his podcast. He's very informed about basketball.
Yeah.
All right. So a couple more. So DeRozan and Hayward both have 1 year left on their contracts. So they are actually been up for a lot of trade discussions. So my question about that is, would you be interested in either of these players for the Hawks?
No.
Hell no.
No, I mean, Gordon Hayward is a very good player. I like Gordon Hayward as a player. He's too injury prone though.
Mm-hmm.
And plus we're actually kind of deep at his position, those versatile 2-3 wing players. And for as far as DeMar DeRozan, hell no.
Hell no.
No.
Right, a dude who can't shoot threes, doesn't really
Bruh.
play great defense.
DeMar DeRozan is not a winner.
Not at all. Not at all.
It like I said, I felt bad for him coming out of once he got traded from the Spurs, because once he got traded to the Spurs, because it's like, you built all this time with Toronto for Kawhi to just go up there in one season, do the one thing you could never do, and that's win a championship. So, but it goes to show, like, that was a talented team. You just needed a better leader.
It's even funny to think like how psychologically it must be messing with DeRozan, because not only did he go to his team and do it, but they're from the same city.
He was by the way, if none of y'all have ever listened to it, JJ Redick has a podcast that he puts on YouTube. It's really good. He was on there like a week and a half ago talking about that and how that just killed him. How it
He said that.
Yeah. He was like, it was really tough to leave and watch that happen and know that, this was like a part of a culture that he built up there. And then it happened right after. Like, it made me feel bad for him. It really did.
Yeah.
But it was like,
he can go swim in his pool of money.
yeah, exactly. Like, I was thinking about this when that happened, was like, if you were given like the chance to like start a franchise or something like that, or like, this is like a player that you're going to take, and you have DeMar DeRozan in one hand, and then you have a mystery box on the other hand, and it could be anyone from like Giannis, or it could be like
Greg Oden.
Yeah, it could be Greg Oden. It could just be anybody in that realm right there. And you're like, you can either keep DeMar DeRozan, or you can take the risk of the mystery box and start it with any one of these players. I was like, I would take the mystery box 10 times out of 10.
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah. Unfortunately. Yeah.
That's
Like he's okay. DeRozan's an okay player, but I have this thing about shooting guards who can't shoot.
Right.
From the 3-point
You're an
line.
undersized 3, an old school undersized 3 at that point.
Right. I mean, I love his mid-range game, but at the same time, it's like he goes to those same moves. In crunch time, he can't hit them because he only has like a couple moves in the mid-range, even though they're very effective. You just can't bully yourself down there and shoot the same shot over and over again. You're not Jordan.
Right.
And so speaking of free agents, another one who's on an expiring contract, who might actually, it's funny, I've said free agents and there's really no free agents here. That's because it was like people like Bertans and all these I didn't really want to talk about them. But Oladipo has 1 year on his deal. And Indiana's pretty much done with him, and he's expressed that he's done in Indiana. What do you think? How do you think he would do? The main team that is looking at him is the Bucks. You think that's what Giannis needs to sort of take his team to the finals at least?
Yeah, he needs a legit number two. And Oladipo is one of the most slept on players in the league. He does it on both ends. And that's actually a guy that I would love for the Hawks to get. He's a leader. He does it on both ends. And he's when healthy. And that's the only problem with Depot is his health. When healthy, the man's a bucket. So, yeah, I think he would be a great fit. I don't think he would ever come to the Hawks because I don't think that's what he's looking for. He's looking to win and be a contender now. He's done the whole, like I'm the best player on the team. I'm going to lead these young cats, these young Thundercats before, and it just hasn't worked out. I think if he played second fiddle to Giannis, man, boy, they would essentially be trading Brogdon for him. What a win.
Right. Micah?
I don't think the Bucks are a right fit for him, but that's more so because of my overall questions with the whole Bucks system and the way they run everything. Giannis as a playoff, Giannis in the regular season is Superman. Giannis in the playoffs is very stoppable. And that's ultimately, and regardless of what his supporting cast is, I think it ultimately comes down to how dependent they are on Giannis to dominate to win. Now, as far I like it, but I was gonna say what Ryan said. I wish that Victor Oladipo was like, this Atlanta team can go places. I want to come play here. So, but yeah, but like as far as him and the Bucks, I think he could be a great piece. But ultimately, I think the overall build of that team, I have questions about it, and I don't have a lot of confidence in him.
Right. I'm not, and I guess they would have to play him with Middleton or trade Middleton. I don't know how that would work, or maybe run him at point. I don't know. But it was sort of interesting how Depot was back, but then it ended up being Budget Kawhi who was the one shining on that Indiana team, which was a bit.
Kawhi.
Costco Kawhi.
Yeah, that is Costco Kawhi.
It was a bit interesting that he didn't, rise up in the opportunity when he had to. So just a couple more things. LaMelo, who is this draft is so weak that it's like you've been seeing Melo at 1, you've been seeing him slide and all that, but now he's been projected to go to the Charlotte Hornets. And the Warriors are back on Wiseman again, which is, of course, leads Anthony Edwards at the 3. Are y'all surprised that LaMelo is falling in this draft?
No. I mean, like I said, of the Ball brothers, he was the one with the most potential, had the biggest upside. But I mean, he also had the biggest flaw in his game. He was the least basketball savvy. I won't say savvy, but he made the worst decisions out of all of them because he knew how good he was. So he was the one cross half court, just fired up. And he's the most spoiled of the brothers. So I mean, it doesn't surprise me mentally. I think he's still got a lot of growing to do. And I don't know what that year in Australia did for him, but I think it doesn't surprise me that he's he's starting to fall a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan. I never have been. Granted, I haven't watched him in Europe, and I'm sure that's helped him grow up because going over there, they don't care who you are. They'll make you play the right way. So it certainly could have changed him. I have yet to watch his tape, but if he plays anything like he did over here in high school in the AAU circuit, man, nah. He doesn't have the heart for it. He doesn't play defense. He was so full of himself, and I just don't have time for players like that. They're the worst type of basketball players. I refuse to play with them, and when I coach, I refuse to play them.
Right. Like, yeah, to me, that's like, I've watched his tape, and the kid is, obviously he's the best ball, I mean, he's like 6'7", 6'8", crazy handle, crazy passing ability. He can finish around the bucket. Like he can make layups, unlike Lonzo. My questions about him, that shot is it's still ugly.
Yep.
It's still a very ugly shot. And I don't understand how what did LeVar Ball do to have each of his three sons with a different shot? I'm sure I've said this before. It's like, how does that happen?
Well, I mean, the problem is LeVar was that dad who made them play up and stuff like that. So his kids got into bad habits because they had to come into some bad habits to get their shot off against older guys. And instead of being the good basketball dad and teaching them fundamentals, he just let them do whatever they had to compete. Right. And you want to shoot awkward, whatever, you go ahead, shoot however you feel. And it's like, as long as you can get that shot off against the bigger guys, then it doesn't matter to me. But I mean, and so all of them have these holes in there, like whether it's these fundamental flaws, whether it's the shooting form or, just pure decision making. Right. Which Lonzo actually was a solid decision maker, but
he can't make layups.
but really, to be perfectly honest with you, I think LeVar killed Lonzo's confidence. I think LeVar put so much pressure into him coming into the league, and when he legitimately came out there every night and saw everybody he played's best, and it wasn't as easy to him anymore, it was just kind of like he became shaky. It's taking him a while to build it back up.
Right. But like I was saying, like my other knock against LaMelo is like his heart, like you were saying, Ryan. He just seems to me like the kind of player who on a bad night he's not going to try, like on defense. And then having a 6'7", 6'8" guy who's not trying, that's like you got to bench him. And I just see that happening a lot with LaMelo just because he seems like such a spoiled brat. But hopefully he proves us wrong, because I love watching good basketball players, and he has the talent to be that. And speaking of pretty shots, if y'all want to see one, check out Bronny Jr.'s shot. Like, for someone who shoots like his dad, with that form that LeBron has, he sure made sure that Bronny had a pretty stroke. And if Bronny ends up the same size as LeBron, that kid's going to be a problem.
Yeah, Bronny's going to be a beast.
Bryce has a beautiful shot.
Bryce?
His younger son.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Younger son.
That's what happens when you grow up and basketball is your life.
Right. Like, yeah, look at Steph.
No. I'm telling you though, Bryce, his younger son Bryce, shoots like Steph. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Quick rant before we move on. I hate AAU basketball and I hate camp basketball. It is the ugliest, worst thing I've ever seen. What's that short little fuck's name?
One who got no answers.
Julian. Yeah. I hate that type of basketball. It is so ugly, and it is so great to me when players like him go up and they face teams like IMG Academy, and they just get smacked.
Right.
They just get absolutely smacked, and Julian Edelman goes like 9 of like 50 from the field.
Julian Newman, yeah.
Julian Edelman goes back to high school. His short ass plays basketball too. Wouldn't surprise me if Julian Edelman could play basketball as well.
I bet he can. He looks like one of those.
I'm pretty sure he did in high school.
I mean, the dude's an athletic freak. He can do anything you ask him to. But yeah, that's the end rant. AAU and camp basketball is just nice. Gross.
So to cap this off, I'm going to share my screen real quickly. Can I do that?
I can allow you to, yeah.
All right, let me share my screen. Because I want you guys to react to these. They released some new jerseys for the NBA, and I just want to get y'all's reaction of that. How do we do this?
You click the button, hit share screen, and pick the screen that you want.
Where's that at?
See the thing at the bottom that says share screen?
Hold on, let me make the screen big. Oh, okay, here it is. Bam. Y'all see me? Y'all see the screen?
I see.
Yep.
Yeah, your rundown.
Okay, cool.
Good God, that's a lot of tabs.
Sorry.
Tab browsing.
Where is it? Here we go. All right. So to start things off, so this is the new uniforms. Every season the NBA brings some new uniforms in to keep things spicy. And of course, the first one is the Atlanta Hawks with this retro inspired uni. Sort of looks like the 1960s version of the Bob Pettit uniform. What do y'all think about this one?
I like it.
I likes it. I wants it.
I won't it. I think they should make this the main jersey, honestly.
Yeah, I like that shit.
Yeah, a lot better than the track jogger jerseys that they've been rocking for the.
No more Volt Green. I'm sure. I'm glad that I painted my wall Volt Green.
You can always paint over it.
Babe, I need this to be a different shade of yellow, please.
Let's go yellow now. But yeah,
McDonald's yellow.
And they also brought this one in, the MLK jersey.
The Peachtree. So they changed the Peachtree. I like that.
Yeah, to honor our local hero here.
They should have done the guy who just passed away.
My man
John Lewis.
John Lewis.
That's what they should have done. It should have been a John Lewis jersey.
How would you do it, JL?
Yeah, or just Lewis or something.
Well,
like that.
and something people
something creative.
It'd be so. That's an easy acronym for people to understand.
Yeah.
Versus like some of the other, like John Lewis or something. What does that stand
Where's
for?
JL?
That'd be legacy building. Whereas this is an established name brand in MLK. Like,
yeah.
This sends the correct message easily. The Nets are doing a nod to their Drazen Petrovic uniforms. What do y'all think of this one?
Is that shading or like a tie-dye effect?
It looks like they spilled something on it. It's like a tie-dye. Yeah, it's sort of like a tie-dye.
Not really.
Not a fan of this. You can't see Kevin Durant and Kyrie coming down the court in that bad boy right there. Oh, speaking of,
it is.
Speaking of, Kyrie with the cheese grin,
like looking at the clouds,
right, pointing to himself because you know it's all about Kyrie.
It's all about me, baby.
I'm the co-coach. I'm the co-coach. Let's go.
Co-coach. Speaking of that, is funny that we didn't mention that, but for anybody listening, D'Antoni, Amari Stoudemire are now assistant coaches of Steve Nash. So Steve Nash keeps his guys working. You can't hate on that.
Hold on.
It's very socialist.
I can't decide what that looks like more. That either looks like the cover to a Drake album or it looks like a bomb pop box. You know, those little rocket pop.
Yeah, it does. It does like a bomb pop box.
Is that those red, white, and blue pops?
Yeah. That's what it looks like.
That's pretty cool. I did like their old jersey. I just don't like this tie-dye thing. They went too far. Anyway,
that's hideous. Petrovic is one of the most underrated players ever. Just saying.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. Rest in peace. Rest in peace. He didn't have a chance to really do much. This is Charlotte. Sort of like a recook of their old Larry Johnson grandmama jerseys. Skip over. I like this one. I like Oakland's nod to their dream, the Believe team.
Yeah, I was about to
This is the jacked up Curry you were talking about.
And that's not even the one. You could, after this, just Google Curry working out.
Okay, let's see what the muscles look like.
Muscles.
Uh-oh, looking like Trey Songz.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I can dig that jersey.
Yeah.
Now we're getting to the ugly stuff. What
hold on.
BioFreeze brought to you by BioFreeze.
What is Portland thinking with this? Like, no one cares that y'all are in Oregon, man.
God, that's a lot of color.
Oh, what happened with the pants? Oh, it's the.
Let's see. Get the little close up here.
Like they stole part of Denver's jersey and threw it on there.
That's exactly what it was.
I didn't even know. Is Oregon known for their mountain range?
Probably. I haven't. I think they got a lot of mountains up in the north.
I like those kicks with it though.
Yeah, it looks cool. I like the black and the white. But I guess they cannot get Dame or CJ to come in. Where? Oh yeah, this color.
Yeah,
it might be a brown.
It looks brown to me.
I don't think that's brown.
I can't.
Yeah, it's like a black or
Okay, yeah. These
What's
blue
that?
blockers make 'em
Pewter?
look
It's like a
brown.
pewter.
yeah, like a pewter or like a.
They're the
charcoal.
Buccaneers.
Right. Yuck. I guess they
And
could
the
not
font
get
for
Dame.
Oregon is disgusting.
Right. They could not get Dame or CJ to show up and point to themselves like they did for Kyrie. They were too busy. And the Toronto, they just recooked their old jersey sort of. And
Yeah.
I mean, those are
added
those
some
are
different
solid.
colors. Yeah. So that's it.
I like
That-
those.
That wraps up the NBA segment, and I will pass it to Micah for the baseball.
full court pass.
Baseball.
Guess who stepped
Stop sharing
in
your
the
screen.
room?
Bro, how do I do that? Here we go.
So yeah, we're gonna do a little talk a little baseball. There's not much. Season is done. They're getting to the point where they're getting ready to announce awards. So far, the Braves. Well, right now, I think I still believe Freddie Freed is MVP free. But of other awards, Max Fried was snubbed in the running for the NL Cy Young Award after posting a ridiculous 7-0 record, 2.35 ERA, and 50 strikeouts. He got snubbed by Jacob deGrom, who was like 4-2 with like a 3.5 ERA or some bull like that. 2.5.
They're both 2.5, but the record was
2.5,
drastically different.
2.5, but deGrom had 50 strikeouts or something, 104.
3.
On a team, he didn't even make the playoffs in a year where every team made
Yeah,
it.
and I mean deGrom is a good pitcher, but and I get it, the strikeouts, it was a huge strikeout disparity, but the Fried was so dominant that the Braves legitimately he carried the Braves for a good bit of the season, and you knew every time he came in every time he started, it was pretty much a win for the Braves.
It certainly wasn't a loss.
Exactly. So I mean, it was, it's just another way to snub a solid Braves player after a very good season, where we beat ourselves and the asterisk champion stole whatever.
I hope they don't. I hope they don't give Mookie Betts the MVP. Just
God, just because of the postseason.
right.
I don't want to get into that. Also, in other Braves players who might get some acknowledgement or some accolades for this season is Marcell Zuna is an all MLB DH candidate. So he could potentially win like the award, I guess, award for the best DH in the league. And since everybody's doing it, they just kind of lumped them all together.
Cool.
So that's it for Braves news. Also in other baseball,
Wasn't Dansby up for something? Didn't he get a Gold Glove nomination?
Possibly. I didn't see all the awards. These were just the ones that popped up immediately for me.
Okay.
But also in other baseball news, Giancarlo Stanton decides to keep his $218 million 7-year deal instead of opting out after 2 consecutive injury decimated seasons. So
who would have not done that?
yeah. I mean,
I'm gonna opt out of $218 million.
Yeah, I'm just gonna stay here and collect money. That's all.
I'm Latrell Sprewell now.
Let's see if I can play. Let's see if I can get paid that for 3 innings of work, just like Cole Hamels did.
Boom.
I gave you 3 innings for the season.
Fried is a finalist for National League Gold Glove and looks like the favorite to win it.
But not for the Cy Young.
Dansby's a candidate for shortstop. Acuna is the leader for center field, and then Mookie Betts is obviously the leader. For
Did he even play center field the whole season?
Acuna, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He did. Okay.
Yeah,
which will allow us to, with now Pache coming up, will allow us to move him back to right field and put Pache in center.
and Duvall at left.
Yeah.
Just as long as Austin Riley isn't in left field. That's it for the baseball segment.
Austin Riley in left field is kind of like the equivalent of when Josh Smith would go to the 3-point line. If I ever went to a game, I'd just be like, "Boo! No! Get out of left field! What are you doing?"
Well, no, you know, really, Austin Riley in left field reminds me of that year where we had both Brian McCann and Evan Gaddis, and it was like Brian McCann is still in his prime, but we love Gaddis and we need to put him on the field somewhere. And since we don't have DH, throw him in left field. And it's just like, dude, we have this big, like 6'5", 250-pound left fielder who can't run anything down. He just can hit bombs.
Bro, he had a cannon though. If he got to the ball,
yeah. Fits. Shoo, gas it.
That thing would rip out of his hands.
So, but that's it for our baseball segment.
Cool. So that's the pretty much the show. Before we get to our lightning round question, as we always end it, do you guys have any recs or shout outs or anything like that?
Shout out to our Instagram, or to our loyal fans in general. We are up to 100 followers. We actually eclipsed 100 followers today.
Hey.
And that is, you know, it might seem small to some of you Instagram celebs out there, but that is 100 real people who support our cause. And that is very cool.
Ain't no buying followers over here.
No, sir.
We got love. We got a lot of love for you and appreciate you.
Yeah. It's, you know, and here's a milestone as well. We're approaching 1,000 listens for all of our episodes here. Let's actually take a peek and see how close we are, because I know we were really close the other day.
Those who hit those for our YouTube, like and subscribe. Smash that like button.
Okay, smash that subscribe button. Hit that little bell over there so you can get a state.
Turn their notifications on so you know anytime we go live, anytime we start an episode. And then
assault that like button.
Bust out your bazooka and blast that like button.
Douche.
We're at 956. So, you know, almost 1,000 listens. I had no idea or expectations of what to think. You know, to think 25 episodes in, we could get 1,000 listens. That's pretty cool.
And we've never ran a single ad.
Right.
Imagine when we start doing that, which we should do soon.
Yeah, we should. But only after you smash that like button and
smash that like button. Hit that subscribe.
Smash that,
tap that bell.
Click the notification.
Leave a comment because it really helps with the algorithms.
Right, exactly. If you want to see us in the future, go ahead and leave a comment on our picture. We should start doing those, like spell out fish and grits in the comments for a chance to win letter by letter.
What could we give away?
The t-shirts.
T-shirts. We got t-shirts.
T-shirts. Man. That's right.
Well, maybe we should do a contest for t-shirts since we got them.
Let's do it.
It's not a bad idea. Yeah, cool. We'll start putting that together here, guys. Micah, you've got the best memory. Sunday, bring that up.
Okay.
During our live?
No, just the day that I'll be back in, you know, in rhythm and around.
Okay.
Any more recs? Any more?
Oh, my album dropped.
Yeah.
It's on all streaming platforms. Go ahead and put that thing on mute and stream it all day.
Listen to it. Marco makes.
Well, listen to it the first time, but after that, put it on
mute just to get the stream.
For those of y'all who don't know anything about Marco, he and his sister, my wife, are both extremely talented in just about anything they touch, anything they pick up, they can do. Yeah, go listen to Marco's album. Really, really talented artist. Sings, plays all his own instruments, does all his own producing. Well, this one you had your buddy, right?
Oh, well, it's like 90% me. But the single, the drums are made by a dude named OS. And there's another track made by a dude named Scott. But all the rest of it is all programmed and played by yours truly.
Our resident rapper / guitarist / acoustic singer / what else?
Smash that like button.
our self-advertiser. All right. Anyway, yeah. So I was thinking about this the other day. If you had, you get those boring questions like in high school or like in interviews. If you had the opportunity to travel back in time and hang out with anybody, who would it be? It's along those lines, but and you can take this any direction you want. If you had the ability to travel back in time and to stop one event from happening, what would it be? And you could go the whole I'm going to save the world and I'm going to stop Hitler, or things like that, or you can just go completely left with it. Micah, you got one?
Well, nah, you just I recently watched Umbrella Academy, so you know what I thought about on that one.
Yeah.
but now, yeah, I definitely I would go back to November of 2016.
Oh.
And I would rig the election, and and Fred McGriff would win presidency of the United States.
Fred McGriff, crime dog.
Fred McGriff.
Were you not here for that, Marco? Were you not around yet?
No,
so, he wasn't.
Micah actually made the news with his vote as well. Wrote in Fred McGriff
for president.
Yep.
In 2016.
You're the reason he won.
What Mike is saying is he would go back and cast his ballot appropriately.
No. Oh, okay, that's funny. That's like you made the news.
Either that or just like rig all the ballots.
Was it like was it one vote for Fred McGriff, or was it just one? How did that work? And you made the news with that? That's
what? Yeah, they post like AJC posted an article about all of the outlandish votes and like in write-in ballots, and mine made the list. I was like, yes.
Yes, for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, I can't find that article either anymore. Marco, what's yours?
So mine would be I would probably go to the Dakota in 1980 and just take out what's his face before he shot John Lennon. Mark Chapman. I'd like tackle him and punch him in the face and shake him out of his mind control. But my real one would be I would pop up on the sidelines of the Super Bowl in 2016 and be like, run the ball. Just run the ball. Just
pull the Sandra.
Take Shanahan's headset and throw it and stomp on the ground.
Pull the Sandra Bullock.
Yeah.
Pull the Sandra. Run the dang ball.
Dang ball. Like Stunners Dan and just tell Matt, like, Matt, stop you little bitch. It's like audible.
Take the sack.
Audible. You're not gonna get fired. Change the play.
Just kneel it if you have to.
Yeah.
Right. Take a knee.
I just totally forgot what I was gonna say with my event. You know what? I'm gonna go one that I thought of when I was originally thought of this. I'm gonna go back to the point at which whoever it was decided or invented the measurement of time. I'm gonna erase that from the chalkboard and just see what happens. See what happens to humanity after we lose the ability to track time. And see like how insane everyone would go. Like if you actually think about it, though, that would completely change. If we lost the ability to measure time, like think about everything that is reliant on time.
You need sundials everywhere.
No, I'm not even talking about like that. I'm just talking about the ability to measure it, to talk about time as a concept and as a measurement of something that doesn't actually exist.
People just sleep when they want, eat when they want.
No alarm clocks.
Anarchy.
No. Wait, how long do you cook this?
The sun and the moon would still come out every day.
Yeah,
right?
But you would still be like, midday. Midday for you could be right when it's up there. I mean, we'd probably become a little bit better at measuring the time of the day. Based
Yours is confusing. What do you mean, like no schedule?
Ryan essentially turned himself into Joker from the Dark Knight. I'm an agent of chaos.
Literally. I just want to see what
time
some
instead
people
of
just want to see the world burn. I just want to see what happens when they can't tell you what time it is and have no ability to measure it or anything like that.
It just become very rudimentary. Like you need to be here when the sun is just past that that oak tree.
You cook your pizza until it's brown. Not for 12 minutes.
Right. I mean, people would probably be a lot better at things if they didn't.
How old are you? I'm 14 summers old.
Right. 14 rotations.
Yeah, but would summer even exist if no time doesn't exist? The concept of
Seasons
time.
would still exist, but you just
Would it?
wouldn't have days. You wouldn't be like, oh, it's been 16 days.
It'd been 14 full moons.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 31 winter harvests old. Like, I don't know.
It ended up being the same thing, just crude.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's still a measurement of time. I don't know how you would tell that.
As long as
People
there's
even
a
ask
sun-
how old you are.
Right. As long as the sun and the moon exist, there would always be some advent of time.
Right. Sun up and sun down. But you would have no ability to talk about it.
Right. And you just mark it. I guess you wouldn't be able to mark it with numbers.
Unless you're in Alaska where the sun is down like 20
no.
hours.
Or when it's up all day.
Yeah.
You just kill yourself.
I haven't been to sleep ever.
This day's never ending.
All right. Well, that episode took a strange turn there. Let's go ahead and wrap this one up, gentlemen. See yourselves out, and we'll do it to it.
I am Marco. Bye-bye.
I am Micah. Adios.
And I'm Ryan. Thanks for listening, guys. Yeah, we ain't
Go
nothing
Canes.
without you. Go. No, that's gonna get deleted. Bye, y'all.
Bye.